you helped me do this, or I feel so much better, and all of that. And just how I have minimized that over the years, and being in transcendence has really helped me to own it and
Yes.
not to feel bad for owning that. And so I think before transcendence, like I wouldn't even be saying this, like, oh, I'm so good. In my mind, I felt like, oh, no, I can't. And transcendence has really opened my eyes to see, no, God has blessed me with these gifts because I can help other people.
Welcome back to another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. I am so excited to bring this topic to you. And it is the topic around weight loss. And really, it's the weight loss conversation that we should have had sooner. And I have a phenomenal expert, a phenomenal guest that I want to introduce you guys to. And it is none other than Dr. Annysue Emmons. So, hey there, Dr. Annysue.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it is certainly my pleasure. You're welcome, and it is my pleasure. So, you guys, let me share with you a little bit about Dr. Annysue, and then we're going to really jump into our conversation around weight loss and weight loss resistance. So, Dr. Annysue Emmons is a DMP and FNP certified. She's the co-founder of VIP Health Aesthetics and Functional Wellness. She's known for her warm, approachable style. She listens deeply so women feel cared for, heard, and valued. Her mission is simple, yet very, very powerful. And it's to help women feel like her again. And her, you guys, represents healthy, empowered, and ready to live the vibrant life that they envision. She is grounded in faith and in her own health journey. Dr. Annysue strives to lead by example, showing that true wellness comes from aligning lifestyle choices with long-term vitality. She believes every woman deserves to feel strong, confident, and comfortable in her own skin. So please help me welcome Dr. Annysue. I'm so excited to have you here.
Me too.
Yes. And so I always like to think of, like, how did we meet? So we met, you were actually in the Prosperous Practitioner program.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm just you're also in Transcendence, yes, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'm just so curious, like, what made you even join the Prosperous Practitioner program? You've been a nurse practitioner for how long now?
5 years, almost 6 years.
Okay, mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what prompted you to join the Prosperous Practitioner program?
Well, I was looking for something that would give me more from the functional side of things. And what I mean by that is I was looking for more root cause approach, more science behind what we see in traditional medicine. That's always been my approach. I've never been one to apply a Band-Aid. I always want to get down to the root cause. And so I was looking for something that would help me with the training as far as the functional medicine side goes, because while I've always looked for the deeper cause, I just wanted some science and some background behind that. And so when I came across the Prosperous Practitioner program, it was amazing. And actually, I attended a master class and thought my labs were normal, had some symptoms that nobody knew about but me and my husband. And Dr. Wells literally read my book from my normal labs.
Right.
So I laugh about that because he called me Miss Normal. And I was like, oh yeah, my labs will be real quick. And then he was like, you got this. And I was like, I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away by that. And so I was like, oh no, I've got to have this because my patients need this.
Right.
And so that's what made me join the program.
Nice. And I'm so glad you did, because it's been beautiful watching the transformation, like your transformation. You came in very kind of I'm going to say unsure, right? But man, when I tell you, like even last week, when you presented your lab, you're like, okay, this means this, and this is this, and this, and here's my plan. I'm like, okay, Annysue. so freaking proud of you and what you have, just really learned the information and started applying the information, not just for yourself, but then also for your clients. So for your patients. So it's been awesome. Again, just witnessing the growth and the application of everything. So take us back. How long have you been a nurse? What type of nurse were you? And then what made you decide to become a nurse practitioner? And then how did you even end up in the weight loss space?
Yeah. So I've been a nurse for almost 14 years. And then I've been a nurse practitioner for almost 6 years. And so I started in long-term care, which is such a different transition from where I am now. To a certain extent. So I started in long-term care and loved it because I just liked listening to my patients, talking to my patients. And of course, in long-term care, you have time to do that because you have the same patients. So you get to know them, you get to know their families. And so it really just built a foundation for me of how important it is to know your patient and to advocate for your patient.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, as I went on to become an advanced practice registered nurse, I still, stayed in long-term care for a little while and then went through cardiology, which is another specialty where you really need to know your
Oh, you got
patient.
nice. Yeah.
And loved it. And then just really felt like I could do more, have more impact in primary care on the prevention side, because what I was seeing a lot on the cardiology side was once disease is already set in. And so while we definitely did some education and some lifestyle changes and all that, a lot of times it was just a little further down the road. And so I thought, well, if I go to primary care, I can have the opportunity to impact more people and hopefully do it in a preventive way that we can get things fixed before they get too far gone.
Exactly.
So yes. And so just being in primary care, the weight loss trend that started a couple of years ago with the GLP-1s really becoming more prominent. While we know they've been around for a while, the recent increase in, yes, there we go, just made weight loss even more front center in people's minds. And of course, it's something that I would teach often because weight loss helps with lots of things: your blood pressure, joint pain, inflammation. I mean, you name it. It helps with so much that I was always teaching. These are things you can do to lose weight or to maintain your weight and that kind of thing. And so when the weight loss medications really gained prominence, it just made a natural transition into that. And of course, once again, I'm not the type to just apply a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So with that, I wanted to help people do more than just give them a prescription for an injection. I really wanted them to build sustainable lifestyle changes and use the medication as a tool instead of a crutch, or just like, I'm just going to take the medicine and I'm going to lose the weight and I'll be done. Because as we know, once the medication ends, if you haven't changed anything, you're going to go right back to where you were. So that's kind of how my transition came about. And then even sliding into the functional wellness side, just with, like I said, maintaining lifestyle changes and helping people to understand really what's at the root of why they're struggling with weight loss or weight loss resistance. That all just it just transitioned.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
No, I was just going to say that's a really good point. You were actually leading to a question that I was about to ask, which is, can you walk us through a little bit, like the moment you realized traditional weight loss advice wasn't quite enough, like it wasn't quite cutting it, and how that shaped your approach to helping women feel like her again?
So I don't know that it was like a certain moment, but it was really it was a transition. Like of course, I had been teaching about, you can do this to lose weight, and you can exercise, and you can eat better, and all those things. Well, it was just becoming more and more that women were starting to tell me, well, I'm doing all those things and I'm still not losing weight.
Right.
And then when the GLP-1s really gained prominence, it was like, okay, now we got another tool. Here, we can give you this tool. And so then the tool worked, and then it didn't. And then it's like, what's going on?
Right.
This works for everybody until it doesn't. And then it's like, okay, time out. Something is not working. And so that is really how that happened as far as that transition, and where I just said, no, we've got to dig deeper, because obviously, yes, the medicine works, but I don't want to give my patients something that that they're gonna need forever, per se. Some things you might, but I would rather give it to them as a tool, like I said.
And I love that you said as a tool, because that's really what it is. That's really what it is. A lot of times I've seen people online say like, oh, that's cheating, or oh, that's, whatever. But it's like, it is a tool. And to your point, Dr. Annysue, so you even mentioned, if you don't make any of those lifestyle changes, then absolutely it's a no-brainer. Whenever you stop using the medication, it's gonna come back for sure.
Right.
But when you use it as a tool, and I like to say, as a piece of the puzzle, because I was doing all the things. I was that person you just mentioned, doing all the things. I was working out. I was eating right. I mean, I could have done better with my eating, but I drastically changed, my eating. I was hydrating. I was focusing on my sleep. Again, there's always room for improvement, but these are things I was diligently working at and working towards and implementing. And I'm like, okay, all this work I'm putting in, I think I should be further along. Like there is something not right here.
Right.
And I was very reluctant. I was one of those ones, and I'm usually a pretty early adopter, but not on this one. When I remember when the GLP-1s came out a couple years ago, I was so against them. And it was because of miseducation or even lack of education. And I wasn't even trying to hear it. Because I was one of those people like, oh, that's cheating. Just do what you need to do and you'll be fine. Until I found myself in this situation. I'm like, wait, I know. When you're making an earnest effort and when you're kind of BSing around. I was like, wait a minute. I've been doing all the right things for a good length of time. I'm seeing some results, but something ain't right. And so I said, you know what? Let me look into this. Let me put my little ego aside, whatever, and let me get educated. Let me do the research. As nurses, that's what we do.
Right.
And so when I did it, I'm like, this makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
This makes perfect sense. And then when I added in tirzepatide specifically, things just started really moving along. And I went from releasing on average, I was doing about 4 pounds, which is not bad. It's a pound a week, not bad. But I'm like, y'all, I was working out. I was eating. I'm like, come on now. And so then when I added in tirzepatide, it really increased to about 10, average 10, sometimes 12 pounds a month. I'm like, okay, now this feels better. I feel like I'm making better progress. And so, and I know that that's a lot of people's stories, but then you just mentioned sometimes it works and then it stops. And this is when it's important it stops working, I should say. And this is when it's important to really understand how to dig deeper, how to go, look at everything from a root cause. And so what do you wish that more people, or more women specifically, and I know it's for men too, but the majority of the people that listen to this are women. So what do you wish more women knew about weight loss resistance that the scale will never tell them? Because I know we get so focused on the scale and that number moving. What's one thing that maybe you wish that more women knew about weight loss resistance?
I think probably the calorie situation. So most women think that, well, I'll just eat less, and then that'll help me break through. Sometimes yes, but for the most part, no. I mean, if that's not the issue. Now, if you were eating 3,000 calories and you eat less, then of course, yes, definitely you can do that. But if you're already limiting yourself to 1,200 calories and you go less than that, well, no, that's not going to work. Your body is literally going to stop you and you're not going to lose weight until you get to the almost dangerous side where you've gone without calories for so long that now you have no choice but to lose weight. But who wants to be that? Because you're exhausted, you look exhausted, you feel exhausted, and your mood changes and all of that. So anyway, I think that's probably the biggest thing is the calories.
Not just about the calories, because we've heard for so long, calories in, calories out, and it's
exactly. And
I'm like, that's not helpful for people.
Exactly. I used to say it myself, years ago, and it's like your body's not a calculator. Your body is a chemistry lab. Like it is. There are so many components. And so you cannot say, I'm going to input this and then I'm going to get this out. It just doesn't work that way with the human body.
It doesn't. And then, you started to mention it. You have to factor in hormones. So yes, you got to eat it in calorie deficit. Okay, we get that. Right. But that's not the only piece. Because to your point, if you're at 1,500 or 1,200 and then your weight loss stalls, well, it ain't that part. You can rule that out, right?
Right.
So, factoring in things like hormones, factoring in things like inflammation. This is where looking into the blood work makes a huge difference from a root cause lens. Looking at the stress, looking at metabolic dysfunction. So,
looking at sleep.
Looking at sleep. I mean, it is a puzzle, and all pieces of the puzzle need to be fitting together. And so, what are some of the things? Just from your experience, the women that have been coming through your practice, what are some of the most common things that you see when they start to stall? And it's not calories.
Yes. So recently, the thing I've seen the most is inflammation, and
Yes.
that inflammation that stems from gut dysbiosis of
Hmm.
some form. And so that is just so common because we have so many things in our environment that can cause us inflammation.
Hmm.
And so, from whether it's plastics, whether it's
Right.
where you work, where you live, the pollution, the processed foods that you ate for years before you
Yep.
made the transition to make better choices. There's so many things that we encounter that cause inflammation. And then add on top of that the stress of being a mom, a wife, a professional, a daughter, a
Yeah.
sister, like
All the many hats
all
that
the
we wear.
things. Yes. And
Yeah.
so that's what I've seen recently is the most is inflammation.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
that is big. And you mentioned so many things. So I'm so glad that you did. But then even, and this was a big one for me. But the things that we're putting not just in our body, but on our body, from our
Yes.
skin care,
Yes.
our makeup, our hair care,
Yes.
the lotions that we put on, after we
Yes.
get out the shower, perfumes that are hormone
Hmm.
disruptors. And
Yes.
all
Yes.
of those things factor in. It's a
Mhm.
lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot. It really is. And
Yeah.
there's a little app that I recommend a lot, the Yuka app, to scan things before you
Yeah.
purchase them. Foods, like you said, things you put on your body, deodorants. I mean,
Yep.
all kinds of things that we just don't even realize
Yeah.
what we're introducing into our bodies. And so it's a learning part. I mean, it's a learning process. It's a learning curve,
Yes, yeah.
and
I always say it's a unlearning and then a learning, because
yes, there
we've
you
got to
go.
unlearn a lot of the things
Yeah.
that we thought were maybe benign, like
Mhm.
deodorant. We've been wearing deodorant probably since we all started going through puberty.
Right.
Like your mom's like, "Oh, your underarms stink. We got to get you some deodorant," right? And so and then they didn't know, so
Right.
they got us what they used. It was full of
Right.
aluminum and full of who knows what. And so
Exactly.
Oprah always says, when you know better, you do better. But
Exactly.
it's things like that. It's unlearning all the things that we've been practicing for 20, 30, 40, 50, however many years we've been on this earth, that
Yeah.
again, we never gave it a second thought.
Right.
Perfume. And think about even where we spray our perfumes on our pulse
Yes.
points. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, that's like one of the worst things we could possibly do. But we didn't
But we
know.
didn't know.
We didn't
We
know.
didn't know. Yep.
So yeah, so unlearning and then relearning. And I know one thing for me, when I saw like a stall in my weight loss,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, Charyse, like, okay, let's dig deeper, right? And inflammation. You mentioned inflammation, and I looked at my inflammatory markers. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
and GLPs and GIP-1s do help to decrease inflammation.
Right.
But if you already got, let's say, for instance, you've got all these other things battling, right? And this was not
Mhm.
true in my case, but if you've got the environmental factors and things you're putting on your body, and the hormone disruptors, and they're eating out of plastics, and that's leaking into your food, and and your sleep's off. If you've got all of those things added
Mhm.
on, I mean, GLP, they can only do so much, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Or you have vitamin deficiencies because you
Right.
aren't getting what you need. Well,
That
the
was me.
GLP-1's not going to really help that.
Right.
And then, so there's just so much.
That was me. That was
Yeah.
me looking at I vitamin D,
Yes.
my iron was low.
Yes.
I'm like, come
Yes.
on, Charyse, you know this. And so, but I'm so glad. I'm like, but here's the thing, I was so grateful. I'm like, okay, you have this information. You know how to do a root cause
Mhm.
level analysis, right? And glutathione, so I literally just retanked up on everything.
Right.
And then once I retanked up on everything, I'm like, okay, then the scale started moving again. I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
look at that.
Mhm.
Look
Mhm.
at that. The
Yeah,
inflammatory
because
numbers started going down. Yeah.
yeah, your body is like giving you a signal. It's
It is.
like, okay, something's wrong. Why is your body is like saying stop? And
Yes.
so it's important to figure out why.
And you can't force it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how do you guide women who've tried everything and are starting kind of to feel like their bodies, like their actual body's the problem, like they're broken? How do you guide them back into a place of trust and confidence in
Mhm.
their body?
I usually start with the root cause blood work analysis.
Yeah.
And so I do that. We get the labs and we get some science so that I can show them you're not broken, you're
Yeah.
not crazy. Here it is.
Yeah.
This is showing you evidence that what you felt, there's a reason you felt why you felt the way you did. And so
Exactly.
now that we know it, let's fix it. And watch how things change. I mean, it has been mind blowing to me to see the women that we actually do the blood work analysis, and then we make the changes. And some of them within a week or two are like, I haven't felt this good in years,
Right.
or ever, and I think about it often. The patient I had who was like, I literally would have been dead in a year. And I'm like, and she just came to me for weight loss.
Yeah.
So that was one of those things, but weight loss, things weren't working. Everybody kept saying, you just need to lose weight. You just need to lose weight. And she kept trying, but she couldn't.
Which is so defeating.
It is.
Particularly if you're doing all the things, or you think at least that you're doing all the things, you're making a concerted effort, and then people are like, oh yeah, just eat less. You're like, well, doggone it.
Right. Like, how much less can I eat? Or,
right.
And for some people, it's like, well, I want to exercise, but I'm so tired.
Yeah, you can't. Right. It's real. So, I mean, I'm so grateful for people like you who get it, and who aren't just kind of spewing the same old rhetoric that is not helpful. Number one, it's very defeating. And what I was mentioning in your bio, like, you're really taking the time to see them, to hear them, to understand them, and to explain to them, yes, no, you're not crazy, and this is the reason why. Let's look at that. I'm so glad that you enrolled in the Prosperous Practitioner program, and you're using the root cause blood work analysis, because that's the key.
Yes,
that's the key to everything, whether it's weight loss, whether it's thyroid, no matter what the underlying issues, it's looking at the root cause, whether it's the weight loss resistance, because again, GLP-1s, GIPs, that's a tool.
Right.
So when that tool no longer works, it's not even a matter of it getting to a point where it doesn't even work. How can we make it work even more effective? How can we work with your body?
Exactly. And then when you do that, when you do figure out, okay, what else can I be doing so that I can optimize my body so it works best?
Yes.
We can use even less of the medicine. So, and reach your goal even faster, right?
Yeah.
So,
and who doesn't want that?
Right.
That's just smart. That is just smart. And actually, I will say that's what I noticed with me. I was on a higher dose, and then I reached out to you, and I stopped it for a little while. And then when I resumed it on a lower dose, on lower doses, which, dosage, which was appropriate. And I added in some, vitamin D and glutathione and stuff. And I'm like, wow, my weight loss has increased on half the dosage.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, all right, Charyse, all right, you know that. I'm so glad I reached out to Dr. Annysue. I get the perk. Listen, I'll just tell you, I'm a happy camper. So I get the perk of reaching out to all of my nurse practitioners that have come through my programs. And because there's the thing, it's one thing, it's all of us, we know things, but when it's you, sometimes we get blinded to, or we don't factor in everything, and we don't really tap into all that we know. So it's so beautiful, at least for me, to be able to tap into you and Dr. Orlandis and some of the other phenomenal nurses and nurse practitioners. It's a beautiful thing. So So what would you tell the woman who maybe we'll go two ways here. One, she's never tried weight loss meds. Which is a peptide. So she's never tried that. So we'll talk about that person. But she has been struggling with her weight for quite some time. And then also, what would you tell the woman who maybe she has tried peptides before? Maybe she is on a peptide, GLP-1 or GIP, and she's not really seeing the results that she would like to see. So let's start with the first scenario. She's doing all the things, or at least she thinks she might be doing all the things.
Right.
But she's not. She hasn't stepped into the world of peptides.
Yeah. So I think with both women, I would start with root cause blood work. And from there, really talk about what their plan is and what the approach is. So I do that with my patients anyway, when we talk about your goals and where you need to be, and how much weight you'd like to lose, optimally speaking, because I tell people all the time, I use the BMI as a tool, but it was created a long time ago, and it was based on the average male.
Right. That is not helpful.
So while we know we don't want your BMI to be over 30, and 27 is overweight, we need to adjust for the patient. I'm not one that's just like a cookie cutter, like you check this box, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would talk to them about that and see what their aversions are. Certainly, like I said before, the GLP-1s, GIP are tools. So, if there was a hesitancy just because they didn't know the information, didn't know what was available, then certainly I want to educate the patient if it's appropriate and then give them that option. And then for the woman that has been on GLP-1 or GIP and is now hitting a wall or not getting where they want to be, again, starting with the root cause, and then from there, making sure that we've optimized their metabolic health. So, and that encompasses several things, like we said earlier, the stress, the sleep, the vitamins, the thyroid, the hormones, and hormones meaning, thyroid hormone, as well as
insulin.
estrogen, yes, insulin.
All
And
of them.
so all the things
Cortisol, hello.
Exactly, cortisol.
Huge.
And
Yeah.
so making sure that all of those things are optimized, and then looking at how we can adjust the medication.
Yeah. And one thing I didn't mention, that is so good. Everything you said is so, so, so good. One thing that I didn't mention before when we were talking about optimizing the body is we talked about inflammation, but we didn't talk about infection, which causes inflammation.
Yes.
And it could be a late infection. So when I ran my blood work, I noticed that my HSCRP was elevated, so an inflammatory marker, right? But then I looked at my lymphocytes and monocytes, and they were both elevated. I'm like, oh, something viral is going on here. So again, going back to doing a root cause blood work analysis, because I could do all the things, but if I'm not addressing that viral infection, then I'm fighting against my body.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, okay, addressing, yes, the iron deficiency. Okay, yes, the vitamin D deficiency, and also attacking this virus. I don't know what it is. The virus is lay dormant in your body for years, and maybe gets triggered. Right. Some people have Epstein-Barr for a lifetime. Right. Yep. And so addressing that, because that also is causing internal inflammation. So
for sure,
it's so important to look at it from a root cause perspective.
Yes, definitely. And, things like, the symptoms that you have, actually paying attention to those symptoms and knowing that instead of, just normalizing it. Oh, I've always felt that way.
Right.
Well, you may have, but that's not normal.
Right. But again, we normalize it. Yeah. That is so good. And I see that a lot with my holistic health clients, particularly as it relates to energy and fatigue. They're like, oh, I'm always tired. I always have a full plate. Well, okay. And we all do, but you shouldn't always be tired. So that's something, again, becomes very normalized, but it's like, no, we need to look into this.
Right.
Yeah. Why are you always tired? So I love that. Or people all the time like, oh yeah, I've been getting B12 injections for like the last 10 years. Ma'am. And we haven't stopped to think why you're needing B12 injections for the last 5-10 years,
Right.
But again, we normalize it, and then we just keep it moving. Because I get it. We all have a lot on our plates. But the goal in life is to be as healthy as possible, to be not just and for our numbers not to just be in the normal range, but to be in the optimal range, right?
Yes, I was just gonna say that I hear that a lot. Well, my labs have always been normal. I said it myself.
Yeah, I have to.
Exactly, but then normal is not optimal.
No.
And so normal is what we use for the labs. Basically, we're looking at disease instead of. We want to get you before you get to dysfunction, which is optimal health. We want to optimize things earlier, right? So that's what I love too about the root cause blood work, is that we're looking at the labs from an optimal lens, like a root cause lens. So while yes, your numbers may not be red,
right, because that's what people scan for. It's like green, red. But a lot of those greens we should be screaming at too, because again, they're not, and they could be way off. Of course, the optimal range is a lot more narrow.
Exactly.
Air quotes, normal range, and that's why you're experiencing the symptoms that you're experiencing.
Yes, for sure.
So so good. I am so curious because you are in Transcendence, which is it's our neuroidentity for lack of a better word. So it's a neuroidentity evolution program. And what that means is really like subconscious reprogramming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And helping you shift from the person that you are into the really stepping into the full potential of the woman that you're really wanting to be, and the practitioner that you want to be, the healer that you want to be, the mom that you want that you really desire to be. And so I'm just curious, this journey, and I know we're not even finished with Transcendence yet, but you've been in there for a bit. What have you noticed so far from before you started Transcendence
Mm-hmm.
and now in how you show up in your practice?
So it's funny. I was thinking about that when coming onto the podcast even, and I thought, I wouldn't have even done this before. I would have felt like I didn't have enough knowledge, or no, I'm not that good. And even hearing it from patients who, constantly are saying, you help me do this, or I feel so much better, and all of that. And just how I have minimized that over the years, and being in Transcendence has really helped me to own it.
Yes.
And not to feel bad for owning that. And so I think before Transcendence, like I wouldn't even be saying this, like, oh, I'm so good. In my mind, I felt like, oh, no, I can't. And Transcendence has really opened my eyes to see, no, God has blessed me with these gifts because I can help other people. Right. And I can't help more people if I'm constantly pushing it down.
Right. And not, yeah, I love that. And what I'm hearing you say is really you're owning who you are, you're owning gifts and talents, you're owning it, and you're honoring it, and you're showing up more, and you're showing up in your power.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's huge. And I'm just curious to ask for, because I know that, at the beginning of Transcendence doesn't come until kind of closer to the end of the Prosperous Practitioner program. And of course it's offered by itself outside of the Prosperous Practitioner program. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on where you were in terms of program, like your program and pricing before, and then where you are in terms of your program and pricing now, and your confidence in your pricing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So before, well, for one, I didn't have a program. I was basically running myself ragged, doing all the things, and I didn't have a program per se. So I was charging zero. In fact, I was probably paying.
Right. We can laugh about it now, but
yeah, we can laugh about it now, but literally because of the time and the money that I've spent, or the investment, I should say, that I've spent on educating myself. I literally was paying to see patients and to help, and actually was fine with it.
Isn't that interesting?
Didn't realize, when I look back now and I think about that, I'm like, I didn't even realize I was doing that. And so now
I think you just set somebody free on that one. I'm just saying. I think you did. Go ahead. I think so many people will be able to identify with that. And, you're just going through, a lot of times we find ourselves just going through the motions and not really looking, analyzing. But now, they always say hindsight's 20/20. And so now you're looking back, you're like, wait a minute. I was paying to, So interesting.
Literally. And so, and honestly, I think now that I made the shift and I actually have programs and actually charge probably still not what it's worth based on what I'm hearing from people.
But you got to start.
But no, I should say and instead of but.
Yeah.
And I think that now the pricing is more aligned, because not only is it a reflection of the expertise and the investment that I've made into my education and the experience, but also for the patient, when they make the investment themselves, then it puts more significance to it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. They show up. They show up different.
Yes, they show up, and it's really them showing up for themselves.
Absolutely.
And I have had to train myself on that as well, because sometimes I feel like, well, this should be for everybody, and that's true to a certain extent, but you have to make an investment in yourself. And so, I mean, I had to learn that myself, to make an investment in increasing my knowledge, in being a better communicator, and sharing this expertise, and just helping people to reach their goals. So I think the transition that I've made just in this year is just like, I can't even believe I'm sitting here talking about this.
Talk about growth.
And and actually have a program and that's doing this and that works. And that people will say to me, I would have paid more.
Right. Because they're investing in the transformation that you're able to help facilitate for them.
Exactly.
And so, yeah. And do you mind sharing what your pricing is now? I know it's not going to always be this, because but so if you're listening to this and it's like not October 2025, just know if you reach out to Dr. Annysue to enroll in any of her programs, the pricing is probably going to be a lot different. But what is it as of today for your higher package program?
Yes. So for my my higher 3-month program, it's usually $31.97. Now that varies based on, because obviously it's customized for the patient. Sure. So that may change a little bit based on the patient, but it's $31.97.
Yeah, so let's say $3,200. Yeah. And here's the thing with this. It's so funny. You said I know it's probably lower than what it should be based on what I'm hearing. And here's the thing. And I literally had this conversation yesterday with someone in the DMs. We were voice texting back and forth. I could say, you know what, that's a $6,000 program all day, because I know what's included in your program, because we co-created it, right? But if you can't energetically hold that, it doesn't matter what I say. It's what you can energetically hold. And that shifts and that changes as you start to evolve and as you start to continue to help people, in their transformation. Number one, your confidence increases. Not just, we're all confident in what we know, but it's something to be said for when you actually escort someone through the process. And you're like, oh, like I knew it was going to work, but I see it actually worked, right? So it just breaks a whole lot of belief barriers, and then which in turn increases your confidence level. And then you're like, wait a minute, this actually should be more than this. And people have already, your own clients have told you, I would have paid more. And so I really wanted to drive that home, because a lot of times we shrink thinking, oh, they're going to think it's too much. And I've heard it too. I've heard other people say it, other nurses and nurse practitioners say it, but I've also heard it from my clients, like, I would have paid more for this. And my program is not inexpensive by any stretch of the imagination. But I've had people go through my 12-month program when it was $24,000, and they said, I would have paid more for this. And so I want to mention that. I just want to point that out, because you don't know what it's worth to someone else. Stop shrinking. Stop thinking that create a price that honors you and your expertise and the transformation that you're able to provide, and be okay with adjusting it upwards, because it's going to adjust upwards, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And so you have been doing such a phenomenal job. You will continue to do a phenomenal job, because that's just who you are. You have such a beautiful spirit, you're such a beautiful person. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Any last thoughts that you would like to leave for the woman who, again, is in their weight loss journey or on their weight loss journey, and or even experiencing some weight loss resistance? Any final words for them?
Just to listen to your body. Don't minimize your symptoms. And honestly, if you are not working with someone, find someone that you trust, that you can work with, that will listen to you. And if you are working with someone that is not listening to you and minimizing your symptoms, then maybe it's time to do something different and really prioritize yourself. Be an advocate for yourself. And so advocate for your body. You know, if you need to be losing weight, you should be losing weight. And if you're not, there's a reason.
That's right. And find someone who can help you find the reason.
Exactly.
Yeah. With that being said, I strongly recommend Dr. Annysue. I'm going to actually make sure that the team puts all of her contact information down below so you can reach out to her on social media. You can reach out to her. We'll put a direct link to your clinic or your schedule or whatnot. So that way you guys can reach out to her that way. And with that being said, such beautiful final words. Are you ready for our rapid fire section before we end?
Yes.
Okay, let's do this. Okay. We'll start off with something super duper easy.
Okay.
Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Michael Jordan. I don't think.
Oh, really? I never heard Michael Jordan. That's awesome. Listen, I love me some Michael too now, and the earrings and oh Lord. Anyway, yeah, got it. Did you have posters on your wall?
Did I have what?
Posters like on your wall?
No. That's why I said nobody knows that.
We just
yeah.
Okay. That was actually one of my questions. Was one thing that someone doesn't know about you, but two birds, one stone. That is so cute. You know who mine was?
Who?
Ralph Tresvant from New Edition.
Oh yeah.
I still love me some Ralph, man. I had posters all over my bedroom. It was Ralph and Bobby Brown. and Malcolm Jamal Warner. That's so crazy.
Oh wow.
And Albie Shore, now I think about it. Plastered all it was more Ralph posters than anybody. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. If you were stuck on a deserted island and you could only bring one thing, what one thing would you bring?
I guess my cell phone so I could reach somebody.
Assuming there's Wi-Fi, yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. If there's Wi-Fi, that'd be good. That'd be excellent. Mine is actually lip gloss. Like I cannot stand for my lips to be dry. Like,
yes.
I almost before we started, I was like, I almost said, let me go grab my gloss to put it on. And normally I have some right here, but I moved it. But something about dry lips, I can't do it.
Yes. Well, I was actually thinking, I was like, I guess would it be water? But then I'm like, no, there's water. If it's an island, there's water. So I don't know. I guess I was just, yeah.
That's good. What's one of your biggest risks you've ever taken?
I'm not really a risk taker. No? So I think for me, joining the Prosperous Practitioner program.
Really? Okay, so this is good. So why did you feel it was risky, and what made you do it anyway, since you're not a risk taker?
Yeah. Well, I felt like it was risky because I didn't know you guys. And so I literally met you online. And then when I met you in person, I was like, I knew it. She is just as amazing in person as she is online. Thank you. But I think that was why it was such a risk. And then I just felt such a peace about it when I decided to join. It wasn't, I don't know, there was no apprehension. It was funny because I even called my husband and he was like, do it.
I remember because I was talking to you. You were like,
yes.
I think we were literally we were on the phone on the Zoom. Yes. Said, let me call my husband. I'm like, okay. And then I think you said, let me text him or something.
Yeah, I think I called him. I think I may have put him on hold or something, and then I called him.
You did. And you're like, yeah, he said, do it. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Which was a shocker for me too, because he's normally, especially with the investment, he would have, normally he's like, well, let's think about this. But he was like, yeah, if you think, let's do it. And I'm like, okay.
I love that. And I love that you trusted your gut, even though, like you said, you're not a risk taker, but it felt risky. But what I'm hearing you say is that you trusted your gut because there was a piece about it. There was something that was telling you yes. And you just honored that, and kudos to your husband for just saying, yeah, like, let's go for it. And that's beautiful. I love it. And here's the thing, we didn't meet in person until many months later.
I know.
In June.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. No, July.
Oh, July. You're right. It was July, but you joined the program, in March? Yeah, something. Anyway, it was such a cool thing, because here's the thing, we both knew we were going to Vegas, but we never discussed when or what flight or what airport or anything.
Isn't that crazy? Like all the flights and all the times and days and airports, and there we were at the same airport on the same flight.
I know.
That was crazy.
It's
Yeah.
out. It's all just divinely orchestrated.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Because you don't even live in Houston. So, I mean, do you normally drive to, I guess you can either drive
Yeah,
to Dallas
we always fly out of Houston.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's why I never even considered asking you, like, you know, where are you going? Because I didn't know that you guys drove here to fly out. So yeah, again, everything just divinely orchestrated, which is super cool.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And it was so great meeting you in person too. I'm like, oh my God, it's Annysue. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then to meet your husband, your kids, that was cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see. So we talked about risks, and let's see. What's your guilty pleasure?
Dark chocolate.
Ew. Yeah. You have a particular brand that you like, or just
so recently I purchased, I think it's HU. So I usually go for like organic or Central Market is one of my favorite places. You live in Houston, you know about Central Market. So they have tons of chocolates and then several choices for dark chocolate. So I usually try to find the one with like the highest cacao.
Yeah.
And that's my thing.
Yeah, I love dark chocolate. I have a friend that's from Venezuela, and she said she brought back some Venezuelan chocolate. This was years ago. Wow. And I was like, whoa, what kind of chocolate is this? It was nothing that I'd ever tasted before, but it has a very high cacao concentration. And I don't think it's not the same brand, but you can get it at Whole Foods. Like if you go to Whole Foods and go in the little chocolate section, and again, look for like 90%, 95, 97. It's a bit bitter, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. So I'm with you on the chocolate. So, okay. Last question. What's one thing that you wish you were better at?
Ooh, communicating on social media.
Okay, y'all, we're laughing because that's actually one part of the Prosperous Practitioner program. And y'all, let me just tell you this. Annysue is killing it. She really is. But like most of us, we're so critical of ourselves, right? But I'm telling you from my perspective, when I see, even in your stories, whether it's in your stories or on your timeline, I'm like, oh yeah, she nailed that one. Like that's what I'm secretly saying to myself. So I need you to know that. Yes.
No, well, I appreciate it.
There's always room for growth. For me, I mean, listen, social media is my thing, but I'm always up leveling. There's always, it's kind of like health. You never max out on health. You're always optimizing, always optimizing. And so the same thing with business, and even particularly social media, because social media changes, you know? And so it's just optimizing. But you're crushing it. I need you to know that.
Well, I appreciate that, especially coming from you, who is like the master. I see your posts and I'm like, oh, I could have done better. No, it's really an inspiration. In fact, like your photos, the photo shoot that you did, I was like, oh.
Which one, the actual in-person photo shoot or the AI photo shoot? They were both.
I don't know. I can't tell the difference.
Even better.
I really can't. Like I've been looking and I'm like, did she go for that or did she do? I mean, I really can't tell. And except for when you posted and said,
right,
this is how I did this. I don't know.
Well, that's perfect because that's exactly how it should be. People shouldn't look at your photos like, oh, I think that's AI. It's funny. My husband's like, because he knows what outfits I have. He was like, one time he's like, is that your outfit? He's like, that's not your outfit. I'm like, no, it's not. It was part of my AI photo shoot. So it's funny when he says stuff because he's like, where'd you get that? I'm like, I didn't. I don't have that. That is not in my closet. Anyway, but if I found it anywhere, trust me, I would get it because all those outfits are really cute.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but
I need to get you to teach me, or I need to go back and find that link.
I'll send it to you. And in fact, if you're listening, you're like, wait, what is it? I'll make sure the team posts it in the show notes. It's actually, so it's a mini course. It's 45. It's one video. It's like 40 minutes, but not even 40 minutes, but you need that piece of it along with the AI tool. Because if you just get the AI tool, your pictures are going to look a hot mess. They're not going to look anything like you at all. So it's a 2-step. So you do the mini course. That's, like I said, it's less than 40 minutes. you get the prompts. The prompts are everything. Right. So you get the prompts exactly. It's like a plug and play, fill in the blank kind of thing. You fill in the blank, plug it in, and you put that into the AI tool along with uploading some of your photos, and that's how you nail it. And that's why you can't tell which ones are AI and which ones are in person photo shoots.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'll post it below for sure, but I'll definitely send it to you personally. I'll text it to you. So yeah.
Okay.
So this has been so much fun.
Yeah, this has been great.
Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your brilliance, and really helping women really through this weight loss journey, and even more specifically the weight loss resistance, because again, it can be very frustrating and defeating. When you think you're doing all the things, or you're doing all the things, and you're like, something ain't right.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you said, Annysue, to advocate for yourself, listen to your body and advocate. And if you're not being heard, find somebody that's going to hear you and dig deeper and help you understand what's really going on.
Yeah.
So important, you guys. And again, I'll link your info below. So thank you, Annysue, Dr. Annysue. That's a whole nother conversation that we did not have.
Yeah.
I try to be really intentional about saying Dr. Annysue. I'm going to say this really quickly for the listeners, you guys, and particularly for those who are DMPs, who, for whatever reason, have resistance or reluctance to own that you are a doctor. Dude, you did the work. Step into it. You are worthy of being called doctor. And I know there's a whole, with laws being changed, and you can use doctor, you can't use doctor in what setting, blah, blah, blah. I get that. I get it. However, I do need y'all to step into that and own it, because you are, again, you're worthy. You did the work and you deserve it. So, Dr. Annysue, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This has been great. And so for those of you listening, as always, I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you again on another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.